God warns you, 7 battles you must never fight. That's why you feel drained. A direct question, are you exhausted because you stepped into wars God never assigned to you? Say it under your breath. Your mind won't switch off, your mood drops, and even so you keep explaining, defending yourself, correcting, proving, and counter-attacking. And the more you try to win, the more you feel you're losing. Not every fight that knocks on your door is your responsibility. The noise can be loud, the issue can feel urgent, they can provoke you or pressure you. None of that means God told you, fight. If you value a clear and practical voice, subscribe and leave your comment now with the word clarity. Let's continue. Preview, you'll see it in a few minutes. I'll show you an invisible sign that explains why you don't rest even when you pray, and how to recover calm without abandoning your purpose. There are real, intense emotional battles God commands you to step away from. God fights for his own, but not the way we usually imagine. Some wars belong to him. When you try to win them in your own strength, you lose peace, you lose clarity, and you step off the path. Many are bleeding inside in wars God never assigned to them. They enter conflicts, debates, and arguments, wanting to be the hero, the fixer, the strong one. You weren't called to save everyone. You were called to obey. And obedience sometimes is to remain silent. Sometimes it is to step aside in time. Sometimes it is to let them talk and let God take care of it. Today, you will identify 7 battles you must not fight. They are spiritual traps, pride impulses, and emotional wars that look right, but drain and distract you. By the time this message ends, you'll stop spending your strength on what isn't yours, and you'll walk in the authority that is. The first battle is personal revenge. Someone touched your name with dirty hands. They lied, betrayed, mocked, used your trust. Everything in you wants to respond. You want it to hurt them like it hurt you. You want them to lose like you lost. You want to expose what they did. But revenge is not yours. The moment you take that role, you step out of alignment and delay your healing. While you chase payback, you feed bitterness, chew the poison again, and chain yourself to the offense. You think you're fighting for justice, but you're fighting for control. Forgiveness doesn't cover up evil. It breaks the chain that ties you to it. When you let go of revenge, you declare to the darkness that you will not become like the one who hurt you. You release to heal, and you let God, who sees in secret, deal with what happened in the dark. Sign that you're still fighting revenge. You replay dialogues in your mind and imagine replies. Antidote, write the name, summarize what happened in one line, declare out loud that you renounce collecting the debt, and perform a small act of good that seals the closure. No announcement, no applause. That gesture silences the echo. If this point speaks to you, save this video and leave your comment now with the word freedom. The second battle is the approval of everyone. Fighting to be liked by all is losing from the start. You say yes when you wanted to say no. You smile when it hurts. You stay where there is no peace for fear of disappointing. You begin to edit your essence to fit shifting expectations. They measure you by applause when your calling is not negotiated by the volume of applause. You weren't called to blend into the crowd. You were called to walk in purpose. The same people who applaud today will question you tomorrow for obeying. If you feed on their approval, you will die from their silence. If you feed on the voice of God, you become stable amid the noise. Test to detect this war. If a single critique sinks your day, you handed over the key to your peace. Recenter yourself with a purpose statement written in the present tense, and protect one non-negotiable hour daily for that instruction. Concise faithfulness kills the tyranny of applause. The third battle is the need to prove yourself. It's a refined trap of pride. You want to prove you're strong, that you were right, that you're fine, that you measure up. You rehearse replies to silence others. You post to show it didn't affect you. When your identity is firm in what God has spoken over you, you no longer need to prove it in every conversation. Truth produces fruit, and the fruit, even if late, arrives. When you're pushed to answer quickly, breathe and ask yourself whether your response is born of peace or pride. If it's born of pride, hold your tongue. Truth doesn't need a spectacle. You are not obliged to fight battles designed to provoke you. In a few minutes, you'll have a short test to distinguish reaction from pride versus decision from conviction. The fourth battle is fighting what has already been resolved. Don't keep wrestling with old guilt if you've already been given a full stop. Don't carry shames that have already been crushed. Don't retake exams you've already passed. There's no more useless expense of strength than reopening a closed case. Conviction is precise. It shows a door, and once you walk through it, there is peace. Condemnation is diffuse. It boxes you in and leaves you heavier. If there is no peace after repentance, it is not a voice from heaven. Antidote: mark a closure date and perform a visible act of faithfulness that confirms the full stop, like making restitution if you owe, serving in silence, or asking for counsel. Then stop looking back. The fifth battle is activism that dries out the spirit. Not every need is your assignment. You can be busy with matters of faith and still lose the source. When the schedule dictates over the presence, the soul becomes a machine. You serve with resentment, act by habit, and lose the fire. Warning sign: you struggle to tolerate 15 minutes of silence. You feel guilty if you stop the march. Antidote: schedule the source first. 15 minutes at the start of the day with simple reading and attentive listening. One line of instruction and one concrete obedience. In a moment, I'll give you a simple framework to order your day without losing purpose. The sixth battle is defending truth without love. Truth matters, but without love it becomes noise. You can be right and still be wrong in the way. You can quote perfect words and close hearts because of your tone. Don't turn truth into a hammer. Carry it as a firm balm. You don't need to answer everyone or win every debate. Sometimes the higher war is to withdraw with humility. Useful exercise: write the response you want to send, read it aloud, and imagine someone saying it to you. If your soul tightens, don't send it. Rewrite it from the good you seek for the other person, with firmness and gentleness. Truth with tenderness opens doors. With arrogance, it closes them. The seventh battle is carrying other people's wars. You are not the savior of your family, your friends, or your environment. When you try to carry what only God can transform, the weight breaks you. You push, insist, force, and the person grows colder. Seeing a problem doesn't automatically make you its solution. Sometimes your intervention delays the awakening God is stirring. Holy boundary. You can love, pray, counsel when asked, and set healthy borders. You cannot decide for another or speed up their process. Compassion is not control. When you release another's war, you recover rest, and your words carry more weight because they no longer compete with your anxiety. Up to here, breathe. Maybe you recognized yourself in one or several. Here comes the promised test. If no one knew, would you still do this? If you make a mistake, are you willing to correct without justifying yourself? Is there peace after the decision? If you failed 2 out of 3, it's probably pride trying to prove something. Stop. Now the simple framework to order your day. 3 small blocks of real focus, up to 50 minutes each. 1 block of silence before attending demands, 15 to 20 minutes. 1 quiet act of good with no announcement. This order shuts down the war of activism and reignites presence. Repeat the exits in 1 line. Revenge: I close the case with an act of good. Approval: I protect my non-negotiable hour of purpose. Proving: I choose fruit over speech. Resolve case: I mark a closure date and move forward. Activism: I put the source first. Truth without love: I guard the tone as much as the content. Another's war: I am a lighthouse, not a tow truck. Visualize 7 open doors. Each door is a pending conversation. A debate calling your name, a memory that hurts, a schedule that won't forgive, a reply ready to fire, and someone else's story on your shoulders. Beside them, a narrow hallway with a simple sign: obedience and rest. You enter, and with each step, a door closes by itself. You didn't lose territory. You recovered inner territory. Maybe you wonder if you'll be misunderstood. Sometimes you will be misunderstood, but that doesn't define your obedience. Clarity before God holds you more than 1,000 explanations. The peace you feel when you obey doesn't depend on others' reactions. It's the sign you've returned to your lane. Make decisions for the next 3 days. Day 1. Choose a battle that isn't yours and close it with a quiet act. Day 2. Protect one non-negotiable hour for the instruction you already know you must follow. Day 3. Answer a hard truth with tenderness, without haste. These 3 actions reorder the atmosphere. If these decisions help you, subscribe and leave your comment now with the phrase, "I'm going to close," followed by the battle you're going to let go. This creates accountability and encourages other awakened. When you release the wrong battles, you don't become soft, you become available. Your mind clears, the inner voice can be heard again, and concrete instructions arrive. They provoke you with a late-night message. Before, you'd answer with several paragraphs. Now you stop the impulse, breathe, and delete the reply. The next day, you choose an act of faithfulness no one sees. Repair what you can, fulfill what you said you would, call the person you should. That obedience moves more than 1,000 arguments. In the end, your chest doesn't feel heavy. That victory cannot be faked. Quietly repeat what you're going to do. You won't enter revenge. You won't enter the marketplace of applause. You won't enter the proving ground. You won't reopen what's already resolved. You won't trade the source for the schedule. You won't use truth as a hammer. You won't carry other people's wars. Where you will enter is today's obedience, integrity without a show, tenderness that builds, boundaries that protect, and presence that orders. You don't win every fight by fighting. Sometimes victory arrives earlier when you step aside in time. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Not because you give up, but because you trust. Not because you run away, but because you choose the right field. And the right field today is the peace that is born from obedience. If this message lit something in you, share the video with someone who's spending their strength on wars that aren't theirs. Subscribe so you don't miss the next tools of practical wisdom, and type "awakened" along with the battle you're going to release. Today you close that door. Today you choose the hallway of obedience and rest. You will see God fight where you no longer need to fight.